Hi, fellow Americans, fellow travelers on the yellow brick road of life. Do you ever have a secret ambition to have your birthday announced on television? Wouldn't that be great? Charlie Gutstop, Dayton, Ohio, is 47 today. Happy birthday, Charlie. You know, it ain't easy being an American. Have you ever really tried to explain it to somebody?
It ain't easy being an American. It ain't easy being an American, right? That's Gene Shepard, 1970. The best storyteller I ever heard. So I'm David Hoffman, filmmaker, ordinary guy from ordinary people who likes ordinary people, as my subscribers know. And it's back when I was a kid, 1956, 1957, and I heard Gene Shepard on the radio telling these stories every day. Just being ordinary folk. Loved it. It affected my life. It got me into telling stories and telling other people's stories and hearing stories from ordinary folk. Ordinary stories. Gene's going to talk about the highway, the turnpike. Howard Johnson had 28 flavors. He's going to talk about Woolworths. You remember that? He's going to talk about the 1950s school system. He's mostly talking about the 50s, and even if you're too young, and most of you are, you get a feeling from Gene Shepard. And you're going to hear him tell these stories right now. The only thing I want to say is that there's something about the way Gene says it, the way Gene talks to you, that I really admire and that I try and do myself with my audience. So listen to Gene Shepard take a ride on the 1950s as he described it in 1970.
You know, it ain't easy being an American. Have you ever really tried to explain it to somebody? I mean, just being an American. Well, for example, what is more American than second grade teachers? Do you remember yours? Man, I'll tell you, I can remember mine. Miss Shields. She was tall, thin. She looked like she was made entirely out of a cake of Lady Esther face powder, carved out of it. And she had this fantastic blue Brillo pad that she used for hair. And every day she'd stand out in front of us and read Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy. And now my head's all filled with stuff like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz and Joe DiMaggio and the camel with the wrinkled knees. Well, how can you explain the Woolworth mystique? Let's say to somebody from Belgium. Oh, I'll tell you, you go into Woolworths on a Saturday night and you smell that smell. Oh, that candy counter, those Woolworth girls. That's American. Have you ever had the suspicion that your life is on tape and that you're the victim of some really lousy editor? He's cut out all the great stuff, left you with nothing but all the dull junk, like waiting in line at the cleaners, stuff like that, and your life just goes on and on and on, and the tape machine keeps running, and you keep running, and it ain't easy, friends, being an American. Oh, there's nothing like a turnpike when your life is going nowhere. Nothing like a turnpike to give you the feeling, the sense that you actually have a place to go. You get on that turnpike, you know, and you drive along. I love them. And by the way, there's nothing more American than a turnpike. They're just beautiful. They're great rivers of passion, desire, and life, stretching out over 3,000 endless miles of fantastic country. You know, the turnpike is getting so much a thing in itself that you can now buy turnpike souvenirs. Like you can get a Jersey Turnpike beanie. Just says, I've been on the Jersey Turnpike. And it's got a propeller on the top. Or you can get a sweatshirt that says, Pennsylvania Turnpike, Exchange 28. I've been there. And why not? I love turnpikes. That is truly an American experience because we're mobile people. We're people that always want to go. And what is more exciting Then you get out on that turnpike, and you're sitting in your car, 8-track stereo, everything is playing, and the lights are turning off and on. You got green lights, tachometers, you got 4-speed shift on the floor, automatic steering, automatic windows, you got an automatic trunk raiser, and the music is pouring out. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're driving along there. Oh, and you see that road coming at you. And every once in a while, out of the darkness comes this green sign. Harrisburg, 128 miles. Whoosh, past it goes. Then you see a couple of other lights going the other way. Whistle by on the other lane. Another late-night traveler searching. And then that feeling, it's 3 in the morning. You're driving along, and deep down inside you feel this little gnawing, this little thing that says, you should have gone back in Altoona. Oh, it's all right. I'll make it. Dee, 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 dee. You start to think of other ideas. I'll dream of other. All of a sudden, again, out of the darkness comes another green sign. Food, lodging, tourist accommodations, telephones, restrooms. 38 miles. And then you step on the gas, pursuing it, driving. And you can feel it welling up within inside of you. The car's got $5 million worth of accessories. But there's one necessity they don't put in them. You can hardly make it. And then, suddenly, out of the darkness ahead, you see, at 3 o'clock in the morning, in that dark Stygian plain of mid-America, a faint orange glow. It's coming up on the horizon, closer and closer, and deep inside you, you feel this religious warmth. Yes, there's nothing more American. How could you explain this to Mao Zedong? Yes, it's Howard Johnson's. Coming out of the darkness, 28 flavors, clams, Texas Tommies, and restrooms at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've got to admit, I'm going to confess it to you. I'm a believer. There's a lot of atheists around. I'm a believer. There is a Howard Johnson. He lives, and he loves me. Get more out of life. I wonder how much this world of the drive-in is going to genuinely affect our national life. Like, for example, here's a guy sitting in his car. Old Charlie is dating this girl. Mabel is sitting next to him. And up on the screen is Charlton Heston. And he's wearing this bearskin rug. His skin is painted orange. And it's in a screen that stretches for maybe 100 yards across the horizon. And there's a slight rain drifting down. And the two of them are sitting there watching this biblical epic, which is really the meat and the bread of the drive-in world. And the voice of God comes out of a little 10-inch speaker, little tiny tin speaker. I think that one of the reasons why God is dead in America is because most people hear his voice coming out of a tin, 3-inch Japanese speaker. Can you imagine hearing the commandments go, thou shalt, and you got a little knob and it keeps fading? How can you respect a God like this? And then Charlie looks up there and he sees one commandment on those big plastic tablets that Charlton Heston is carrying, see? And his arm starts to sneak over the back of the seat. He's going to try it out, Love thy neighbor. And then Mabel sees that he's about to make his move, and she scurries over and slams up against the side of the door and looks out with that angry look on her face. Charlie's struck out again. He sits and waits. And then that moment, when the love music comes on. That moment when Cary Grant looks deep into Deborah Carr's eyes. And somewhere far off in the distance you hear la da da dee, la da dee, la da da dee 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 dee. Just as their lips touch, that moment of sartori, that moment of oneness. And millions of movie fans all over the world know that this is love music. This isn't hanky-panky music. This is the real thing. Cary Grant is truly in love with Deborah Carr. They've gotten that music. Now the question is, I wonder how many people feel that they have never fallen in love today. Because whenever they kiss their girl, no love music. Nothing. Nothing but silence. And all they notice is that her nose sweats. Or he's got blackheads. And so eventually, no wonder we all go to the movies to see real love. Music and beauty and truth, it's all here. I see the day by the year 2000 when there will be a plaque on a drive-in. Maybe it'll be near the box office, you know, where you first come in and your lights are looking for a place to park, and there'll be a plaque, and it will say, "This is the Route 3 drive-in, a historic drive-in. It was in this drive-in in the fall of the year 2003 that President Charles W. Schmidlap was conceived." I have a feeling that the drive-in is going to be the log cabin of the future. Well, that's it, fans. It's been a great night.
So you just heard a bit of Gene Shepard. I wish I had more. But I wanted to ask you, if you are so inclined, and if you are able, could you click the Super Thanks button below the video screen to the right and support me, David Hoffman, in continuing to present videos to you from my archive? My archive's huge, so I'm going to be doing this for the next 20 or 30 years if I can afford it. I don't make all that much money from YouTube, but the Super Thanks really helps me dig in the archive, take the time to find the things that I think you and other people who enjoy my presentations enjoy. I want to thank you for hearing Gene Shepard. I want to honor Gene Shepard in this video. Thanks.